Welcome to Winchester Now. I'm Mary Blacksland. On today's programme, a New Year's resolution that could give families the gift of life, and a chance to step back in time this New Year's Day in Winchester.
Winchester Radio.
At a time of New Year resolutions, an appeal today from NHS Blood Transplant. Sign up to be an organ donor and let relatives know you want to save a life. Across the UK, 6,800 people are on the transplant waiting list, including 146 people in Hampshire. One person can transform up to 9 lives through organ donation. In 2020, the law changed, meaning all adults are considered to have consented to be an organ donor unless they opt out. But joining the NHS Organ Donor Register and letting family know your thoughts is still important. George Branliff is a specialist nurse in organ donation working for the Hampshire NHS Foundation Trust.
We just ask people to just be very selfless and go onto the Organ Donation Register website, on the DVLA website to change in your driver licence. It's selfless for a couple of reasons. One, you're thinking of others, that you can potentially help them in a time that they need it the most, change their lives to give them a second chance. And secondly, it helps your family if they are ever having to have an end-of-life conversation on your behalf. It's very rare that we can make choices on our end of life, but becoming an organ donor is one of them. And taking that conversation, that difficult conversation out of your family's hand to say you've made that decision for them is probably the best gift you can ever give them.
The law changed in 2020. What difference has that made? And is it still important to have these conversations?
Families will always get asked, regardless of people's decision made, just to make sure that it's their last known wish, really. It always takes time to see impacts when a big law change has been made, especially in healthcare. The important thing is that people still need to register and tell their family, because like I said, they're always going to be involved around a big decision like organ donation.
It's a very difficult conversation to have. What advice would you give to people about maybe opening up that conversation?
It's just saying that you've looked into it, you've registered the decision on the driver licence, on the Boots Advantage card, or you've made that Google search for the Organ Donation Register, and just to tell them that the decision is made. Even if you don't tick that box on the website, you can just tell them that it's your wish, it's your consent, your choice to become an organ donor and trying to help other people if you can.
How desperately do we need these organ donors, especially here in this region?
More than 6,800 people are on the transplant waiting list, more than 200 children. In the Hampshire region alone, there are 146 people waiting for organ transplant. It's so important. If you can help at least one person, at least one child, I think we all would want to do that in our lifetime.
And is it something that you experienced? Are you involved in that as well? Do you see people who are waiting for that crucial moment?
I know of people that have had to have it, and it is life-changing. Within days, people who have hours to live are making recoveries, and they are so thankful for all the work that the NHS done for them, and more importantly, they're thankful for people to have that conversation with their loved ones and able to go on to help them. My wife's aunt passed away and was an organ donor. Their family weren't going to go down the donation route until they found out that she was on the register, and she went on to help 3 people in her death. So it is. I've seen it in personal life, and I've seen it in professional life, and it's just a remarkable thing, donation. That's
George Branliff from the Hampshire NHS Foundation Trust, and you can find out more at organdonation.nhs.uk. Now for a roundup of other news from around the Winchester area this week, here's Paul.
Residents of Winchester who are planning to celebrate the coronation of His Majesty the King are being asked to submit any plans for street party road closures to the council. The historic event is taking place on Saturday the 6th of May, and the council is urging people to send their applications in by the 3rd of February to ensure that they are processed in time. Disruption continues for train passengers heading out of Winchester with the ongoing industrial action. The train company is advising people to only travel if necessary and to check their website for information on the journeys. The RMT and ASLEF unions are currently in a dispute over pay and working conditions. A public meeting is being held to discuss ideas for the redundant Bushfield Army Camp base. The owners of the land, the church commissioners, are currently consulting on plans for the site ahead of submitting a planning application. Winchester Action on Climate Change is hosting a meeting next month to bring people together to share ideas. Suggestions so far have included a community growing space, a cafe, shop and even biodomes such as at the Eden Project. And there's a chance for people looking for work to meet with businesses in Winchester who are trying to fill their vacancies. A job and opportunities fair is being held on Friday the 24th of February at the Sports and Leisure Park. Employers will come from a range of sectors and residents are invited to come along whether they're looking for work, a change of career or returning after a break. Any organisations who want to take part should visit the council website. For Winchester Radio, I'm Paul Blitz.
Winchester Radio.
A unique exhibition is taking place in Winchester to celebrate young people. Throughout this year, the Hampshire Child and Adolescent Mental Health Service has been running the This Is Me campaign, a variety of projects helping young people explore more about themselves and learn from one another through artwork. It involves schools and youth organisations from across the county. These are now on display at the Winchester School of Art. Helen Dove is from the service.
It just felt like after the 2 to 3 years of lockdown and COVID that actually what we needed to do was think of something more positive and have a positive mental health campaign. So the focus for This Is Me was about encouraging people to rebuild their confidence and connect and be creative and think about actually this is who I am, this is what makes me me.
And how important do you think it was for people at that stage to do this and to look into these sort of issues?
I think it was absolutely vital. Lockdowns have reduced and it feels like we are beginning to come out the other end a bit, and so this was a real opportunity for young people to kind of reset themselves and recalibrate and think about the future, think about their aspirations and their values and about connecting with other people.
And it was all based on artwork as well, so what sort of things do we have here? What sort of work did they do?
So we had 15 blank books called This Is Me books going around the county to schools and youth organisations with a call to either draw a picture, write a poem, write some text, basically talking about what made them who they were and what made them an individual. And then the beauty of that was as they were being filled out, they went on to another school. So that was around connecting with other people, because obviously schools would look about, see what other young people did from other schools. The coat of arms was a really big project, so we were encouraging young people to think about creating their own individual coat of arms, so thinking about it in terms of their achievements, their aspirations, their culture and their values, and to express that in whatever way they chose to do that. And as you'll see from the exhibition, they have been very, very creative about how they've reflected that. And the other part of the exhibition is an audio installation where we asked young people under the age of 16 what they thought 16 would look like, and then we asked a number of people over the age of 16 what they remembered about being 16 and what was the one piece of advice that they would give, and then we kind of put all those together, and it's a very humorous, very powerful, quite humbling listen to kind of 15 minutes hearing different people's remembrances and thoughts, and yes, it was very entertaining doing it.
What sort of thing came out of that? What sort of things did people say?
Interestingly, some people have reflected about pieces of advice. They said that's what I would have wanted to know and told my younger self. So, I think it reflects that stuff doesn't change. We still want to say, reach out, keep in touch with your friends, enjoy your life, don't be in a rush. That's what came from a lot of the older people. From the younger people, it was a mixture of people really thinking actually 16 is going to be really stressful because I'm going to have GCSEs, but there's lots of fun stuff. Like one young lad, Thomas, said when he's 16 he thought he'd be really tall, and a young lad called Ange said he'd have a moustache, and people were just excited for prom and having jobs, and it was a whole mixture of things that people felt 16 would look like. But it's interesting.
And what did the young people say they got out of doing this whole project?
Well, I think that the young people have absolutely loved the opportunity to be creative, and I think we focus a lot on trying to do things with a creative element, because the arts and culture can have such a positive impact on our mental health. It can be a really positive benefactor, and I think seeing it in such an amazing venue, and we're very grateful to the Winchester School of Art for hosting it in their gallery space. I wanted young people to be inspired, and I think they have, coming to a proper exhibition hall and seeing their work displayed properly has just been uplifting to see their responses, really.
And the exhibition runs until the 5th of January and is open Monday to Saturday. Now time for our shout-outs, and here's Anna.
Hampshire Hospital's NHS Foundation Trust has taken to social media to thank all the wonderful members of staff who worked on Christmas Day. keeping the hospital running smoothly and ensuring all patients were safe and well cared for. It's a feeling reiterated by Hampshire's Chief Fire Officer, who has thanked his team for all their hard work keeping the community safe during the last year, and to all those working over the festive period. Plus, community thanks to everyone who gave their time volunteering, helping others over the Christmas period and sharing festive cheer, including those involved in providing Christmas lunches for those who would otherwise have felt lonely or isolated on Christmas Day. And a shout out to all the volunteers of the Winchester Park Run for organising 2 successful events over 2 days last weekend, the usual Saturday run and an extra bonus Christmas Day run. There were 339 runners on the 25th and 27 volunteers who gave up part of their Christmas morning to help man the event and cheer them on. Lots of runners come dressed in festive outfits, and for many it's part of their Christmas tradition. And if you'd like to give someone a shout out on our programme, do drop us a line to news@winchester.radio.
Winchester Radio.
Now, it's become a tradition over the last 30 years, and on New Year's Day the King Alfred buses will be out and about in Winchester again, taking us back to a time gone past. It's extra special this year as it's 100 years since the first King Alfred buses took to the roads. I spoke to James Freeman, the chairman of the Friends of King Alfred buses.
Well, they will be typical of the 1950s and 60s. They're a single and double deck. They are noisy, cold, but typically they have steps up into them, for example, which we don't have in buses nowadays. They would have been worked by a crew of 2, so a conductor as well as a driver. So the conductor would be coming around, any more fares please, and helping people on and off and dealing with their pushchairs and all the rest of it. And we do try and recreate that because our conductors give out tickets. They don't charge for them because the rides are free, but they do go around the bus and give everybody a ticket, which helps us to record how many people there are. But I mean, we could just count the heads really, but the tickets are a key part of it, and the sort of the interaction, the repartee is key.
It's part of the experience, isn't it? And what do people say to you about being on these old buses?
You see, the thing is that people find their own memories in them. So although there are Winchester buses, lots of people live in Winchester, weren't brought up in Winchester, they've come here because it's such a lovely place to be, but what they see is what they remember from their home, wherever it was, their experience, their trip to school, their whatever it was. Nostalgia kicks in at every level really, so, and people say, oh, that's amazing. Or local people will say, good gracious me, look at that name of that company on the side of that bus there. I remember them trading in the high street, that kind of thing. So it's all about looking back and picking up on our memories.
And of course this year has been a special year for you as well, hasn't it?
Extraordinary, really. We've been celebrating 100 years since the first King Alfred buses ran in Winchester, and it was very interesting that when we recreated the original operation, we found that we couldn't do it in the time, because although the buses were limited to 12 miles an hour and had solid tyres in those days, they didn't have to deal with the traffic. And even on a Sunday, we could not do the 2-hour round trip that they used to do, which incorporated going to Stanmore and Twyford and Flowerdown. It just couldn't be done in the time. So that's interesting, isn't it?
And tell me about the 1st of January. How do people get involved? Do they have to book? What happens?
It's really, really easy. So turn up in the Broadway any time between about 9:30 and 4 o'clock, and you'll find the buses departing on a regular headway. If you want to support the Friends of King Alfred buses, and also you want to know the times, we publish a colour brochure, and it's only a small thing, but it's got all the times in it, like a real bus timetable, and the buses keep to the times, so you can work out where to go. And we operate over all the old routes, or pretty well all the old routes that the King Alfred buses ran to. So don't wait for a bus to Badger Farm on 1st of January. It didn't exist in 1973, so the buses go to Oliver's Battery, not Badger Farm. That's an example of how things are slightly different by our service. So we are trying to just refer back to life in a different time, and it was a different time, of course. It's frightening to me that we've been doing this for 40 odd years, collecting these buses, 41 years since we bought our first bus, and the world has changed so much in that time. And people love it, they come flocking along, and, it's something for everybody, really, because it works for the kids, because it's something exciting, and quite a lot of them have never been on a bus even, never mind an old one. For the adults, it does remind them of perhaps something nice in their history, or perhaps something nasty, I don't know, but people enjoy that, and it's a kind of, well, I suppose it's a sort of escape, isn't it, from the real world.
James Freeman there. And finally today it'll soon be 2023, and we end the programme with some special messages for our listeners on Winchester Radio.
Hello, I am Councillor Angela Clear, Deputy Mayor of Winchester. May I wish you all and your families peace and joy now and throughout the new year. Let us be thankful for our many blessings and be kind to one another. God bless you all and take care. And a very happy new year.
Hello, this is Andy Hyatt. I'm the Chief Operating Officer here at Hampshire Hospitals. On behalf of everyone here at Hampshire Hospitals, I'd like to wish you all a very happy new year. Thank you for all your support in 2022 and as we look ahead to 2023.
Hello, this is the Lion from the Theatre Royal Winchester's Panto, The Wizard of Oz. I'm here to wish everyone in Winchester a happy new year. I wish you all health and happiness for 2023. Woo! Now where's my party popper?
And myself and the team on Winchester Now also join those voices in wishing you a very happy and healthy new year. Many thanks for listening.